1954 collegiate football season is all neatly written in the history book, and Touchdown brings you the most exciting pages from that history. A fast and furious ball left the football experts bedraggled and bruised as underdogs and unknowns ran roughshod over their carefully weighed selections. Let's take a look at 1954 from the second guesser's postseason vantage point. Touchdown will show you the nation's two top teams in action, Ohio State and UCLA. You'll see conference champions in the making and bowl teams to be. We'll bring you the surprise team of 1954 and the upset of the year. So sit back and watch the 1954 season as it unfolded week by week on Touchdown. In the first week of the infant football season, UCLA gave promise of becoming the powerhouse of the Pacific Coast as the men of Red Sanders traveled east to do battle with the Jayhawks of Kansas. UCLA single wing swings into action as Bob Davenport blasted the Kansas 9. With the goal line in sight, Davenport hurdles the Jayhawks, and UCLA gets away to a 6-0 lead. The Bruins come banging back for more. With 4 blockers leading the way, Doug Bradley fights to the Kansas 17. The Bruins' powerful ground attack pays off as Jim Decker runs wide, and the visitors from California take a 12-point lead. Trailing 18-0, the Jayhawks force UCLA to punt. Now Moody takes the ball, heads for the sideline. Jayhawk blockers cut down the U-Clans as Moody breaks into the clear and gallops 82 yards to make it UCLA 18, Kansas 7 at the end of the first half. With just a few minutes of the fourth quarter gone, George Rimberg of Kansas tries to punt, but it's blocked. All-American tackle Jack Alina captures the bouncing ball, gets away from a Jayhawk, and scores for UCLA. Bruins 25, Kansas 7. With 50 seconds left of the game, the Bruins blast a big hole to the Jayhawk line. Don Shinnick shoots through and races 73 yards to the Kansas 9 before the Jayhawks can haul him down. Jerry McDougal adds the finishing touch with a powerhouse plunge as the Bruins win 32-7 over Kansas. This was the first stop as the U-Clan Express roll like the Super Chief to an unbeaten season and a share of the mythical national championship. Notre Dame was rated tops in the nation when its interstate rival Purdue rolled into the Notre Dame Stadium, where 58,000 Hoosiers watched in awe as the action unfolded. Purdue sharpshooting sophomore Len Dawson passes 20 yards to Bob Stringer, and it's goal to go for the Boilermakers. Another Dawson dandy puts the Boilermakers on top as Johnny Kerr bags the ball in the end zone. Purdue leads 7-0, and Notre Dame's youthful coach Terry Brennan knows that he's in a ball game today. Purdue with the ball again, and Dawson at it again. Lanky Lynn fires a bullseye to Rex Brock. Brock bounds down the sideline to complete a 41-yard touchdown that gives the Boilermakers a stunning 14-0 ball. Second period, Purdue in punt formation. A bad pass from center is picked up in the end zone by Rex Brock, but he can't get out, and Notre Dame scores a safety, but the Irish trail 14-2. Following the safety, Purdue kicks off from its 20. Paul Horning takes the ball on the Notre Dame 38. Horning hot-puts it 60 yards before the Boilermakers' fine guard, Tom Bettis, pulls him down just shy of the goal line. Nick Raish powers past Purdue's defenders for a score. The Notre Damers cut the count to 14-8 at halftime, while their former coach, Frank Leahy, cheers the Irish on. Notre Dame's overhead artillery opens up in the third period as All-America quarterback Ralph Guglielmi hits Dan Shannon for 41 yards to the Purdue 2. Coach Stu Holcomb sends in reinforcements. But they can't stop Don Schaefer, whose touchdown ties the score at 14-all. The stalemate is short-lived as the Boilermakers bounce back, and again it's a tossing of Len Dawson that does the damage. King-size sophomore end Lamar Lundy latches onto the leather and legs it all the way. Purdue regains a 21-14 lead. In the last period, Len Dawson, a regular Dennis the Menace all day to Notre Dame, shoots a screen pass to Bill Murakowski that goes for a touchdown. Notre Dame is dealt its only defeat of the season, a 27-14 upset by Purdue. After this, the Irish, under Terry Brennan, went on to take 8 straight for a highly successful season. 2 unblemished records went up for grabs when Rice met Wisconsin at Madison on October 9th in football's Game of the Week. Badger Clary Bratt gets Wisconsin moving with a 25-yard scamper into Rice territory. Jim Miller, Wisconsin's dead-eye passer, hits Jimmy Temp, and the Badger end is pulled down inches from pay dirt. Those inches are erased by All-American Alan Amici, and it's touchdown, Wisconsin. Wisconsin leads Rice 6-0. The visitors from the Southwestern Conference strike through the air. Rice quarterback Johnny Nisbet passes to Marshall Crawford for a 28-yard advance. Nisbet keeps throwing, and Rice keeps rolling downfield. This time, Morris Stone's on the receiving end, and he's dropped on the Badger 28. Morris Stone gathers no moss as he takes a handoff and sidesteps his way to the 15. Fine faking fools the Badgers and frees Johnny Nisbet to toss to teammate Lemoyne Holland as Rice takes over the lead by a scant 7-6 margin. Watch Wisconsin's great fullback, Allen the Horse Amici, crash through the Owls for 19 yards. With less than a minute till halftime, the Badgers hustle goalward on Jim Miller's 23-yard run. Time for just one more play. Miller decides to throw this time. There it goes. It's incomplete, and Rice still holds its slender 7-6 lead at the half. The game is winding to its conclusion before Wisconsin can get a threat going. Then, this Miller pass puts the Badgers on the Rice 18. Alan Amici plows his way to the 5-yard line. Amici crashes over to win for Wisconsin, 13-7 over Rice, and the Badgers' unbeaten string is safe for another week in this topsy-turvy season of upsets. In the 4th week of the season, Penn State looks like the class of the East as it puts its undefeated string on the line against the rough, tough Mountaineers of West Virginia. The Mountaineers brew up a headache for State as Freddie Wyatt fires a southpaw pass that Bob Moss pulls in. Only a fine tackle by Lenny Moore averts a West Virginia touchdown as the Mountaineers pick up 42 yards. Freddie Wyatt dives into the clover from the 1-yard line, and West Virginia leads favored Penn State 6-0. Don Bailey on a great option play pitches back to Lenny Moore, who gets loose for 15 yards in the 2nd period. The Nittany Lion roars as quarterback Don Bailey pitches to Ron Yawker, and Yawker outruns the Mountaineers to score as Penn State takes a slim 7-6 lead. Here go the Lions again. Don Bailey pitches back to Lenny Moore, who almost makes it a jackpot play. But he's finally tripped up on the West Virginia 41. Lenny Moore is mauling those Mountaineers. He picks up a good chunk of ground as Penn State moves to the West Virginia 7. Lenny gets the rest of it on this next try, and now Penn State leads West Virginia 14-6 as the first half ends. The second half belongs to the Mountaineers. Bob Moss skirts wide to move to the Penn State 21. Quarterback Wyatt climaxes a 68-yard march as he scores on the keeper play from the 15-yard line. The Penn State lead is narrowed to 14-12 over West Virginia. And that lead disappears completely late in the fourth quarter. Dick Nicholson takes a pitch out and scoots for 40 yards to tally for West Virginia as the Mountaineers come from behind to drop Penn State from the ranks of the undefeated by a 19-14 score. Southwest clashes with Southeast as the Razorbacks of Arkansas, the Cinderella team of the year, faces the Rebels of Ole Miss. At midseason, both teams are still among the ranks of the undefeated. Mississippi moves early with Billy Kennard crashing over tackle for 14 yards and a first down. The Rebels show off their ground-powered elarts as Paige Cothran prances through the Razorback secondary for 23 yards. Billy Kennard tries the middle and rips through for 9 hard yards. On fourth down, there's still 2 yards needed. Slick McCool doesn't make it, and Arkansas holds the Rebels scoreless in the first quarter. Now the Razorbacks roll. Tailback Buddy Benson operates a single wing as he sends Joe Wilson scrambling among the Rebels for a 22-yard pickup. Still working from the same formation, Benson calls a run-pass option play and hangs onto the ball to bring the Razorbacks to the Ole Miss 26. That's the end of the line as the half ends with the game still scoreless. In the final period, Benson spearheads the Razorback attack as he flips a screen pass to Preston Carpenter for a first down. The Razorbacks explode the bomb that blasts Mississippi's hopes of an undefeated season. Buddy Benson looks and hurls a perfect lead pass downfield. Preston Carpenter gets there in time to make a beautiful catch without breaking stride and gallops the rest of the distance untouched to win for Arkansas 6-0. The Razorbacks go on to top the Southwestern Conference and face Georgia Tech in the Cotton Bowl. The Oklahoma Sooners, kingpins of the Big Seven, nearly had their long string of conference victories snapped at 44 when they traveled west to meet the Buffaloes of Colorado. With the hometown Rooters howling for a score, Colorado tries to deliver. Carroll Hardy hits Frank Bernardi, and Frank filters through the Sooners like a will-o'-the-wisp in a 19-yard dash to the goal line. The Buffs take a 6-0 lead over Oklahoma. With seconds left in the first half, Oklahoma strikes back. From the Colorado 20, Bob Herndon passes, and Carl Allison catches to put the Sooners on the 7. Colorado drives Oklahoma back, but Buddy Leak pulls by the Buffaloes on a bruising 13-yard run to the 2. The Sooners have seconds to tie it up. Buddy Leak bangs into the Buffalo line, and it holds as the gun sounds, ending the first half. But the Sooners find the range in the fourth quarter. Fullback Jerry Tubbs booms through the Buffs for 9 yards to the Colorado 12. Oklahoma's Buddy Leak gets the ball and bewilders the Buffaloes with a lightning-like strike for a score. It's all tied at 6-6. Buddy Leak's boots. It's good, and Oklahoma takes a narrow 7-6 lead over Colorado in the fourth quarter. The Sooners bid for insurance as they come up with some razzle-dazzle deluxe. Tommy McDonald has the ball but doesn't keep it as he fires downfield. Now Bob Burris has it and keeps it as Oklahoma moves to the 1. Pat O'Neill dives over the Buffaloes with 6 points of Sooner insurance. Colorado loses but gives the Sooners their toughest battle in an undefeated season. The Miami Hurricanes blew into Birmingham, Alabama, boasting an undefeated record and rated among the nation's top 10. Auburn had one thing in mind, an upset. There's no score in the second quarter as Auburn's Bobby Freeman throws. Miami's Hurricane blows as Don Bossler intercepts to set up a scoring threat. There's treachery afoot as Miami lines up for a field goal attempt. Carl Garrigus fakes a placement and passes to Gordon Malloy on the Auburn 14. Garrigus is full of fakes. He starts to run, but flips to Tom Pepson, and the pass pays off in points. Miami leads Auburn 7-0 at halftime. Miami muscles flex in the third quarter. Sophomore signal caller, pint-sized Mario Bonafiglio, is off on a 52-yard scoring scamper. The Hurricanes fail to convert, but they lead 13-0 going into the final period. Auburn comes on. In slow motion, Dave Middleton, the pile-driving plainsman, plows to the Miami 4. Bobby Freeman furnishes the finishing touch, and Auburn is back in the game. It's Miami 13, Auburn 7. Late in the game, Miami's Hurricane is spent. Bonafiglio fumbles, and Auburn recovers deep in Hurricane country. The plainsmen grind goalward as Dave Middleton blasts to the Miami 18. Auburn rooters are on their feet as Jolting Joe Childress tears through the line to tally for the Tigers. The game is tied at 13-all. Auburn adds the extra point to hand Miami its only setback of the season. By winning the big ones, powerful Auburn earned its berth to the Gator Bowl. As always in the Southwestern Conference, the issue was in doubt right down to the wire. One of the key games pitted Baylor against SMU in the Cotton Bowl at Dallas. SMU must win this one if it wants to play in the Cotton Bowl on New Year's Day. Frank Item turns left in as the Mustangs threaten. The Baylor Bears won't bend, but Dwayne Nutt finds running room outside as SMU takes a 7-0 lead over Baylor. Seconds later, Dwayne Nutt and Frank Item hook up to shake up the Bears with another touchdown as SMU moves out in front 14-0 and begins to look like the class of the Southwest. But here come the Bears. That's Del Schaffner in motion, and he keeps right on moving as he takes a wide pitch out, turns left in and streaks down the sideline on a 33-yard excursion to the Mustang 12. Reuben Sod surges through left guard to score for the Bears, and Baylor takes heart with a score. It's SMU 14, Baylor 6. Here's the play that turned the game inside out. A Mustang scoring drive becomes something entirely different as Del Schaffner intercepts a pony pass. Schaffner pulls out the throttle on old 27 to chug 87 yards for a Baylor beauty that puts the Bears within 1 point of SMU at 14-13. The Bears are on the prowl again before the end of the half. Billy Hooper hoists a pass to Reuben Sodge, and Sodge gallops to the SMU 14. Del Schaffner slams over for the score, and Baylor rooters are wild with joy as at the end of the first half, it finds the comeback Bears ahead 20-14. With a score at 26-14, the Bears go for more. Reuben Sodge scampers around right in, reverses his field, and races all the way to the SMU 18. Weldon Holly hustles over right guard for the final 2 yards. Baylor bounces SMU out of the Cotton Bowl with a 33-21 victory and bounces itself into the Gator Bowl. The Ohio Stadium was sold out, and the Big Ten title was still in doubt when Michigan met Ohio State in Columbus. The Buckeyes are seeking their first unbeaten season in 10 years. Benny Esteban's Wolverines will be out to prevent Ohio State from becoming the first team to go undefeated in 7 Western Conference games since 1913. From the outset, it's obvious that Michigan is up for this one. Danny Klein takes tacklers like water off a duck's back as he battles to the Buckeyes' 40. In slow motion, watch the Wolverines score on a beautiful buck lateral play. Lou Baldacci passes to Danny Klein, and the fast-stepping back goes all the way. Favored Ohio State trails Michigan 7-0. In the second period, Michigan is again in Buckeye territory, but when Jim Maddox's pass is intercepted by Jack Gibbs, the tide turns. Gibbs gallops 38 yards to the Wolverine 15. Tension and pressure tell on the face of Ohio State coach Woody Hayes. But happy days are here for Hayes as Dave Leggett lays a pass on the line to Fred Chris. There's a near miss by Chris, but he holds on. The game is tied 7-7 at the half. In the third quarter, Michigan's Dave Hill dents the Ohio defense with a 7-yard thrust that has Buckeye boss Woody Hayes applying body English as Ohio tries to hold that line. This play marks Michigan's downfall. On fourth down from the 1, Dave Hill is thrown back by the battling Buckeyes, and State takes over. Howard Hopalong Cassidy highlights Ohio State's horse opera as he gallops 51 yards into Wolverine country. Dave Leggett caps the 99-yard Buckeye drive with an 8-yard toss to Bruce Brubaker as Ohio rallies and takes a 14-7 lead. Later in the quarter, Hubert Bobo, Buckeye sophomore sensation, whipped through the Wolverines for 28 yards. Dave Leggett passes at the last second to Jerry Harkrader, who is knocked out on the Wolverine 1. As Hopalong Cassidy hops into the end zone, Ohio State hops right into the Rose Bowl. The Buckeyes win 21-7, and Coach Woody Hayes has never been happier as his players carry him off the field singing, "California, here we come." The grand and glorious climax to the collegiate football season is the top classic of all, the annual Army-Navy game. 102,000 spectators, the biggest crowd of the season, packed Philadelphia's Municipal Stadium for this never-to-be-forgotten service spectacle. Underdog Navy weighs anchor as George Welsh wheels his way to the Army 12. The middies come up with a play they've saved all season, and it fools just about everybody. Welsh whips a pass to Bob Craig, and Craig crashes into the end zone to give Navy a 7-0 lead. The cadets prove they can move. Peter Van lofts a pass over in-rushing lineman to Pat Hubel, and Pat powers into Navy waters. Navy goes into an 8-man line, but Tom Bell speeds around in for a cadet counter. Army fails to convert and trails 7-6. Navy opens one of the wildest quarters in the history of the Classic as John Weaver takes a pitch out and gallops around right in for 23 yards to put the middies on the Army 25. George Welsh hustles back and hurls a third down pass into the arms of Bill Smith in pay dirt. The middies hit the board again. Now it's Navy 14, Army 6. Navy stock tumbles when Dick Guest fumbles a low pass from center. The ball gets away and a host of cadets give chase. Don Hollander flops on the ball to put Army in business on the Navy 3. With the happy cadets chanting for a score, Pat Hubel delivers. Army chalks up 7 points and Navy leads by 14-13. Peter Van, West Point's fearless passer, attempts one of his few aerials of the afternoon. Bob Kayaski is away downfield to pull it in and lunge over the goal line to put the Cadets in the lead for the first time. Army 20, Navy 14. But the hard-hitting future Admirals come steaming right back. John Weaver turns right in on a dazzling dash to the Army 27. George Welch calls his own number, hides the ball, and slides back to pass. He throws to Jim Owen, who hangs on as it goes out of bounds on the Army 1. George Welch plunges over the final stripe, and Navy leads 21-20 at the end of the first half. In the third quarter, George Welch becomes one of the greatest of Navy heroes as he passes to Bill Smith for the final score of the game. Navy sinks the Army 27-20 in one of the best games of the year. Disappointed Red Blake congratulates Navy coach Eddie Erdelatz on the victory, which sends the Middies to the Sugar Bowl to face Mississippi. This program concludes our 1954 Touchdown Series. We've enjoyed bringing you week by week the film highlights of the top collegiate football games played across the country. If you have any comments or suggestions concerning our program, we would appreciate hearing from you in care of this channel. Now, on behalf of the entire Tel Ross staff, this is Byrum Saum wishing you a very Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year.